Hello everyone, how are you? Hi Mohit, give me 1 second. Let me allow you to speak, all of you. Mohit, you have your hands up. Anything you want to say? Can you hear me, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes, you're
Okay,
on.
great. Let's wait for another 1 minute so that others can join. In the meanwhile, if you have, obviously when you have questions, you can speak. But in case anything you want to discuss, especially, you can write down in your question and answer section. Hello, Mohammed?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Do you have a question?
I have just joined.
Okay, no problem.
Okay.
Can you be on mute, guys, if you don't have a question? Thank you.
Hi, this is Om. So, just I wanted to check. So, at last, are you going to share this PPT, right, to all of us?
Yeah, so you can get this PPT from the person you are in touch with.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay. Give another 2 minutes, then we'll start. Okay, guys, give me 2 minutes so that we can start. Let's wait for another, like, we'll start at 12:05. Okay. Okay, so I have got one question from Abhishek. I'll definitely cover that. Anyone with a different question or any other question? I mean, obviously, you will have many, but anything you want me specifically to cover? Okay, yes. Somebody's going to say something. Radhika, Nilesh. Okay, so guys, I'm putting you on mute in case you don't have any question. Guys, just a request. So, if you have a doubt, any query, please let me know then and there, and we can discuss. And if you don't have any doubts, please be on mute. Thank you. Okay, so let me just quickly give you my background. My name is Rupender Monga. Let me write it here. Rupender Monga. I'm a FRM charter. By education, I did my engineering in 2005 from IIT Delhi. I did my master's in finance from Europe. So it's a college named Rotterdam School of Management, Erasmus University, Europe. And I have a total of like 13 years of experience. In 13 years of experience, I have majorly in finances and technology. And right now, I'm working in a company in fintech. Uh, Now, my profile basically, as I said, it's in fintech. My profile includes like project modeling and working on many analytics projects where I forecast and apply some machine learning. Right, so it's a mix of finance and technology. I've been training for more than 10 years. I've been training on anything on FRM, CFA. By the way, I've cleared CFA 1 also, and anything on finance, anything on analytics, machine learning. That's what I train on. Okay, so that is my background. Now, I to give you background, so I started doing CFA. So some Abhishek has asked a question that what is the difference uh, from FRM, difference between FRM and CFA, especially in terms of job profile. Now, I to give you background, like that's a perfect question because I faced the same thing when I started my career in finance. I started actually with CFA and I cleared CFA 1, and then because I was in a job that required more of FRM, and I'll explain why it required more of FRM later. It required FRM and I cleared FRM, and then CFA was not that kind of requirement I had, so I did not go for level 2 and level 3. FRM was sufficient for me. Okay, so that's my brief background. If you feel I'm going fast or slow, please let me know, and if you have any doubts, please ask me then and there so that we can discuss. Okay, so Radhika,
So
yeah,
one question, sorry to interrupt.
no
So
problem.
you said that you started your career after clearing CFA level 1. So
Yeah.
after how many years of experience you plan for FRM?
Okay, so basically, I did CFA level 1 in 2007. Okay, and so basically 2007 June I gave an exam, sorry, December, and I got a result in January 2008. And then basically I was planning for level 2, but not that year, the next year. But I got a job in trading, so I was in trading. I was a trader at that point of time, and my job required more of risk management. Okay, I was trading on behalf of my company, so we were buying, buying and selling on behalf of the company, not on the behalf of customer, right? So it was proprietary trading. So they required more knowledge in risk management rather than portfolio management. So risk, so they, it was not compulsory, but they said, okay, it's always a good idea to have FRM. So I think level 1 I cleared in 2010 or so. I mean, they gave a recommendation, that I should go for it, and I started thinking about it in 2009, and then basically I went for risk management like FRM. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so I think once you started your career, after 2 or 3 years, you plan for FRM, if I'm not
Yes.
wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay, thanks.
But as soon as I started my first job, I got to know, not exactly got to know, I basically knew already what is FRM, but the difference and why FRM is, in my case, important than CFA. In some cases, CFA is better. Okay, so it depends, and we are going to discuss. It depends on case to case basis. Like, okay, what is your background? What exactly you want to achieve? Where you want to work? In some cases, CFA will be better. In some cases, FRM will be better. Okay, so Radhika is asking CPT, computer based test. We are going to discuss that also. Okay, any other questions before I start? So these questions I'm going to discuss in detail while, so in a structure, but I'm just trying to understand if you have any question around these which I can accommodate in between those topics. Okay. Okay, so I think most of you know what exactly is FRM, right? And financial risk management, and what exactly is it. Okay, so I'll not go too much into that detail. Okay, so but I will touch all the things so that everybody is on the same page. So this is financial risk manager, right? Now it is conducted by GARP. GARP is Global Association of Risk Professionals. Now, if I compare with CFA, CFA is like conducted by CFA Institute. This started in early 90s. FRM and CFA started in 1965, I think, right? So CFA is quite old as compared to FRM. Now, FRM especially came into place or came into existence because there was not anything specific to risk, and that was a major requirement post 1987. The problem was that everybody was so much interested in earning money but not saving it. Saving doesn't mean, when I say save, like saving from the loss. Okay, so everyone was so much focused that okay, we should be able to make money. Okay, that's the criteria today also, but at the same time we should be able to cover our lower side. So in case we are going to make a loss, then how much loss, right? What should be the restriction? What should we do, what in case something happens which is against our portfolio, right? So managing the risk. And when I say 1987, 87 is, you might have heard about Black Monday. So there was this 20 sigma event, right? 20 sigma. 20 sigma basically means that if I don't know if you know or not, sigma is standard deviation, right? Standard deviation is on an average how much my portfolio or my stock or my asset can move in returns, like okay, 1% here and there, 2% here and there. Okay, now it was a 20 sigma event. If we go theoretically, 20 sigma event can happen only once in 1 billion years. But does it mean that okay, now it has happened, are we safe for another billion years? No, obviously no. So the focus is that okay, we need to understand the behavior of stock market, behavior of assets, behavior of portfolios, right? But no one was focusing on that, and that was the reason FRM came into existence, that okay, we need something extra, right? So, and that was very important decision, and that's why FRM came, right? Now, Anuj, I will definitely cover that. So GAP started this, and people started joining, getting attached to GAP. People started giving exam. Now, prior to 2009, it was only one exam, right? FRM 1 and 2. Now we have two exams, FRM 1 and 2. Now, from 2021, everything is changing, but let me quickly tell you what was there till 2020 December. Okay, so prior to 2009 it was only one exam. Now post 2009 we had two exams, level 1, level 2. Level 1, as we still have level 1, level 2, but the major thing was that you can give level 1 and level 2 together, right? So if you are ready, you can give level 1 in the morning and level 2 in the evening. Okay, and like I never met anyone who has given both of them together, but people used to discuss, okay, shall we give both of them together so that we can save time? I always insisted that unless you know each and everything, I would all, even if you are very confident, I would always recommend to give them separately. The only reason is that in case you don't clear level 1, they will not even check your level 2, because the requirement for level 1 is nothing that anyone can give, and even undergrad can also give level 1. But for level 2, level 1 is the requirement, that level 1 has to be cleared. Okay, so I mean, if you did very good in level 2 but level 1 by chance you are not doing, you have not done good, they will not even check your level 2. So and your money time would have wasted. So uh, unless you know each and everything in and out, you are working, you have been working in risk management position maybe for 10 years and with similar concepts, because if you talk about risk management in India, that can be slightly different than what is risk management in US. So this FRM is basically everything in US, right? So that's basically you need to take care of that. Okay, so you could give the exam in May, you can give the exam in November earlier, right? CBT I'll come in a minute. November and May, and basically if you are clearing in May, you would have given in November clearing in May. So maximum in 1 year, I mean not maximum but minimum 1 year you would have cleared level 1 and level 2. Now when you talk about eligibility, as I told you, for level 1 there is no eligibility requirement. For level 2, level 2 eligibility is FRM 1 should be passed. Okay, now charter. So Anuj is asking, is there any kind of work experience required to acquire FRM charter? Now, if you basically, let's say if you don't have any experience, right? So you have level 1 and level 2 cleared. You can write down in your resume that, okay, FRM2 passed. Okay, you cannot write charter because you have not got charter. For charter, you need 2 years of experience. Charter, you need 2 years of experience in the field of or in the area of financial risk manager. Financial risk manager. Now, many people say that, okay, we don't work exactly in financial risk management. It should be related to risk. For example, I did not work in risk, but I was working in trading, which is very close to risk, right? Because my day-to-day activity is managing risk, right? So if you can prove that, okay, you have worked in a field, in such a field which is related to risk, definitely you can get a charter. I mean, if you have 2 years of experience. Okay, so that's what basically, I mean, you need to prove it to GAP that, okay, you have sufficient experience relate, I mean 2 years of experience related to risk. Okay, financial risk, not manager, basically department you can say. Okay, so it can be trading, portfolio management, like even audit can be considered as a risk department, because in audit you are basically handling with risk, that there can be fraud, operation risk, these kind of things. Okay, now then when we talk about uh, where we basically how we can pass this, as I explained you, there are two parts. In part one we have, let me tell you the quickly the syllabus, then I will move to basically how we can give the exam from 2021 onwards. So we have quants, we have foundation of risk management. We have FMP, financial market products, and financial market and products, valuation and risk models. Sometimes we write it quickly, VAR, value at risk, right? Now, so this is 20%, 20%, 30%, 30%. Now, if you talk about syllabus, okay, now in future it can change, but I will tell you what is the current position now. Uh, Wait a second, Tandul. We will discuss everything which you are mentioning. So quants is most of the things are like calculation based, right? You can say 70% are calculation based. Foundations, it's more in quants basically it's more about statistics. Now many people say that okay, their maths is not good. So it's not only about maths, it's mainly about statistics. If you are not good at statistics, then you might struggle. I'm not saying it's difficult, but you need to put some extra effort. If you have like engineering or maths background or stats background, it will be very easy for you. Quants, I'm just talking about the quants part. Foundation of risk management basically talks about what exactly risks, theory about the risk, okay, what is happening in financial markets, okay, and what kind of case studies or any scenarios where we have faced some particular kind of cases of operation risk, market risk, and credit risk. Then we have FMP. FMP is basically we learn about different kind of financial products and markets where people trade. And valuation risk model basically actually how to measure those kind of risks, right? So foundation quants is majorly actually calculation based. Foundation is majorly theory based. FMP 50-50, VAR 60-40. 60-40 in the sense 60% calculation based. So overall 35%, 40% you can say is calculation based, 40%, 40-45, and rest is theory based. If I talk about part 2 quickly, in part 2 we have, so I'll not write the full names: market risk, measurement and management, and then credit risk, and then current issues, operation risk, risk management and investment, liquidity, and treasury risk management. Liquidity. Percentage wise, we have 20%, 20%, 10%, 20%, 15%, 15%. Now, I mean, there are various forms of risk, but majorly risk can be divided into three parts. One is market, credit, and operational risk, right? So that is 20-20-20. Okay, and then rest are slightly different. But part 2, if I compare it with part 1, it's an extension of part 1. So basically, it's I mean, quants is almost gone here. There is not specifically quants there, but if you need to have knowledge of quants, you need to have knowledge of financial market products, you need to have basic knowledge of risk, you need to have knowledge of calculation of models, right, which will be extended in all these. So majorly what I noted, like 70% is theory and 30% is calculation based in part 2. And um, okay, so that is basically part 1 and part 2. If I talk about exam pattern is both are 4 hour 4 hour. In case of part 1, there are 100 questions, sorry, in part 1 100 questions, in part 2 80 multiple questions. No, there is no negative marking till now. I mean, future we don't know, but now right now there is no negative marking. So I always say, even if you don't know, answer it, because you have some chance of getting it correct, right? So you it's a good part actually. There is no negative marking. Okay, now if we talk about basically exam dates and centers, so earlier it used to be third Saturday of May and November, and exam centers were like in Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai, Bangalore, I think Hyderabad, Kolkata, and Pune, and majorly the basically the locations were fixed. But now things are changing. So earlier there used to be early bird, standard, and late. Okay, now we have mainly only early bird and standard admissions. Sorry, basically taking registrations. Okay, so now this because CBT is computer based test. Okay, so it is starting from 1st December. I mean the registration starting from 1st December to Jan 31. Okay, and you have to pay 550 for the exam, or you can, so this is early, right? And for standard you have, it will start after 31st January, which is Feb 1 or Feb 1. It will start and it will go till March 31. You can pay 750. Earlier there was a third option also, which was late admission. I gave, but now we have only two, early and standard. And there is a fixed registration fee, or it's also called enrollment fee of $400. So this you will flat, you are going to pay once you register, and depending on are you registering between this date or this date, you are going to pay either 550 or 750. So that will be the fee for level 1. And the registration fee is basically paid before level 1, not before level 2. Level 2 will have only exam fee. So if you have already cleared level 1 and you are going for level 2, so you will pay either 550 or 750. That's all. Okay. Now earlier they used to be paper based. You used to go on third Saturday and sit for the exam and basically do it on paper. It's computer based, and it will happen on range of dates. You can select a date. Okay, you should, for example, for this my exam, you can select the date by April 8th. April 8th. And part 1, sorry, April 8th. Okay, now part 1 is between May 8th to May 21. Okay, 21st May basically 2021. Then part 1 will happen again in July 10 to July 23, and part 2 will start, so they are starting my, sorry, later, right? Now basically in future they can make it, I mean, together also, that in similar dates. Okay, but right now we have if I just check the calendar for next year, right now third Saturday is 15th May. So this part 2 is paper based on May 21 or 15th May, sorry. Okay, and going forward from December, I think they are starting CBT for part 2 also. Okay, so that is the change. Now syllabus, I mean, there is no big, so this is a format being changed, that instead of giving on paper, pen and paper, you will be marking answers on the computer. I have given multiple papers, like I've given IELTS paper based, I've given GMAT on computer based. So I don't see any much difference. The only thing is that how comfortable you are on computer as compared to paper. The only difference basically I've seen is on paper it's easier to go back. So basically, okay, I want to just quickly check, I'm at question number 60 and I want to check question number second, I can easily flip my papers and go to question number 2. There also the option is that, okay, you can click on question number 2. But I mean, to see question number 2, you have to go there. Okay, I mean, click there and it will open that window, I mean the page where the question number 2 is. That's a major difference I've seen, but I mean nothing other than that. So there is hardly any difference which you can at least, I mean, see. Okay, so for preparation wise, I Radhika asked the question, how is the FRM exam going to change with it moving from paper to CPT? So approach for preparing. So I don't think there should be any change in approach in preparation. Okay, and the only thing is you don't have pen and paper and I mean solving like this. You will be sitting in front of computer and solving like that. That's the main difference. So you should be comfortable in sitting in front of, what do you say, computer for long time. That's the main thing you need to practice. Okay, so that's the difference. Does that make sense? So Abhishek has asked how FRM is different from CFA. Let me quickly, I mean, discuss that. Now CFA has, we discussed, FRM has 2 levels. CFA has 3 levels: level 1, level 2, level 3. They are also going to CPT, and earlier they used to be, level 2 used to be only in June, and level 1 used to be on December and June. Now they will be having, I think, 4 times exam in 1 year. The major difference is that if you are focusing purely on risk field, then FRM is best for you. And if you are a journalist in the sense that, okay, you don't care in what field you want to work, in finance obviously, then I think CFA is better for you, especially if you are going as a portfolio manager. Now CFA is costly. I mean, every year, first of all, I mean, 3 exams are there. For 3 exams, there's huge cost. It's almost the double the cost of FRM. That's one thing. It takes more time because there are 3 levels. Okay. Now, if I talk about the exam level, then actually it depends on the background. For example, I felt CFA level 1 is the easiest exam, there's no doubt. But I have seen syllabus of level 2 and level 3. And if I compare it with FRM, I felt FRM is easier, but I've seen many people saying that FRM is difficult. So it depends on your background, right? So if your so my background is engineering, and have seen basically what do you say, uh, I'm fine with calculations and everything, formulas. That maybe that's why I felt that FRM is easier than CFA. Okay, but it's purely depending on you and what kind of job you want to do. You can decide, okay, which is better. Okay, now for, let me repeat, for journalist, I mean, if you don't know what you want to do in finance, but you want to work in finance, plus you want, if you have in mind, okay, I want to work as a portfolio manager, then CFA is better. But if you have in your mind, okay, you want to work anything related to risk, then FRM is better. Now when post 2008, now post COVID, I mean during COVID, we are not yet reached post COVID. So post 2008, it was, I mean, everybody knew that the most important department is risk management department, because if you don't control your risk, everything will be gone. And that's what happened in 2008. And risk management is the only department, not, I mean, is basically one of the department which will lose jobs at the end. At the end, in the sense, because even if, I mean, uh, there are many losses with the bank or anything is happening, the risk manager or risk management people is going to, are going to calculate that, okay, there is a risk, how to manage, still manage that risk. And if you are cutting down on employees, you will start firing people, but the risk manager people will be the last people to get fired. Yeah, I'm not saying they will not get fired. I mean, eventually all of us can get fired, but risk manager will be the last person to get fired. Okay, that's the main difference between CFA and FRM. Hope that answers, Abhishek. Radhika, is it clear? Okay. uh, Tendulkar is saying do we need to clear both levels in 4 years? So after clearing one, I mean, right now the condition is that you have to clear within 4 years. In future, we don't know what will be the there. What is the duration of exam for level 1 and level 2, Nilesh Kumar? So it is 4 hours for both of them, 100 questions and 80 questions. Anuj is saying the question pattern is MCQ. Yes, uh, it is MCQ, multiple choice questions. I mean, till now, future we don't know because they have made it computer based, so maybe they make it subjective later. I don't know. I mean, I can't comment on that. In CFA, I mean, level 3 has subjective questions, but in FRM, it is purely MCQ. Okay, it's purely MCQ. Okay, so basically, just to repeat, um, exam 1 is moving to CBT in May 2021, right? I mean, and then obviously we'll continue with CBT, and they are adding. So earlier there used to be only my exam, now they are adding July part also, and in future, I mean, they are, so everybody is kind of, I mean, experimenting, right? So basically CFA is also experimenting, FRM is also experimenting that what's going to happen, how we can do it. So these, for next 1 2 3 years, these things will not be fixed. I mean, this can be fixed, I mean, this can be finalized, but what I want to say is be ready that there can be some other changes also with, I mean, in next 2 3 years. And once things settle down, then basically we'll see that okay, what is finalized for maybe 5 10 years. So because this thing, my and November, it is since 2009, so 11 years it has been remain same. But now what will happen, we'll see in 2 3 years. Okay, I got a question. I'm sorry, not able to hear properly. Do we need to clear? I said that yes, once you clear level 1, then within 4 years you need to clear level 2. Okay, earlier they did not have this condition. I mean, in I think 4 5 years ago only they added. In future I don't know what will be there, but yes, right now that condition is there. Okay, now this, I was repeating that again from my, it is CBT, and now instead of one date it will be on range of dates. Okay, and this part 1 is all CBT for 2021. FRM part 2 in May, it is paper based first, and from December it will be going to be CBT. Your syllabus, your structure, your length of exam, nothing has changed. Everything is same for now. Okay, now if you want to prepare for FRM, from where you can prepare, so there are various resources. The most important resource is GAP material. Okay, now the only, not exactly problem, but I mean, I find the issue with GAP material is it's lengthy. Okay, that's the only thing I feel, that it's lengthy. But if you have sufficient time, this is the best material to go with. Okay, so study with GAP material and do its practice questions. Then you have FRM practice papers, last year papers. Now, I think till 2012, FRM used to give, I mean, announce what are my last year paper questions. I 12 or 13, I think, was the last. After that, they have started giving sample questions. So instead of last year questions, they have started giving sample questions. And so when you register for exam, near the exam, they will send you some sample questions, some sample questions which type of questions can come in the exam. They are very close replica of, I mean, what you can expect in the exam. So that is very good for practice. Okay, now along with that, basically there are other resources. There is a book called Philip Zorian. I'm fan of this. The only problem with Philip Zorian is that it has material for FRM 1 and 2 both, and you have to be knowledgeable enough that okay, if when you are reading that what part is FRM 1 and what part is FRM 2, that's the only difference. But this is very good for FRM question practice, because again in that also you need to identify which question is for 1 and which question is for 2, but it gives you previous exam questions, right? Then if you have more time, then there is a book from by an author, John C. Hull. I'm my favorite professor. Okay, I think he teaches in the University of Toronto, and he has a book on options, futures, and other derivatives. Now, whatever I've learned from this book. Okay, now today this book is like very thick. When I studied, it was like half of that book, and this is actually a very good book. And now there are two editions comes in. One is called an Indian edition, and it's called International. International is very expensive, like 5-6 thousand rupees. Indian is like 500-600 rupees. But the difference between Indian and international edition is international edition has US based examples, and Indian edition has Indian based examples. So if your uh, purpose is to have knowledge, then it doesn't matter which edition you should get. But if your purpose is to learn with the perspective of US, then you should go for international edition rather than Indian edition. I mean, it's expensive, but you will be able to find international edition at a cheaper cost if you look for it. Okay. Now, then calculators. So there are basically three kinds of calculator: HP12C, Texas BA2 plus, Texas BA2 plus, and there is BA2 professional. Now, I've never worked with 12 seats, so I can't comment, but majority of public works with either 2 plus and 2 professional. They're almost identical to use. I mean, same to use, I'll say. Professional has extra features which might be helpful in exam. Okay. I cleared the exam with Texas BA2 plus rather than BA2 professional. I think this is $1,000 expensive than plus. I mean, if you buy this one, even then it's fine. But if you want, you can spend, then you can do this, because these calculators will not be using after exam, because for real life we have computers, we can work on computers, we will not be using calculators. So that's why professional is not that useful to buy. You can buy 2 plus also, but I mean, for those extra features, I don't see it's worth to buy professional. But both works the same way. Okay, so you can buy whichever. And if you want to learn about be it this calculator, unlimited videos are available on the internet for BA2 plus and BA2 professional. Okay, now every year almost 45% of people pass FRM 1 and FRM 2, around that. FRM 2 is more towards 50%, and FRM 1 is more towards 45%. They have a quartile system, so basically they pick top 45% or maybe top 46%, so it's relative marking. So if it's difficult exam, it is difficult for everyone. If it's easy exam, it is easy for everyone, right? So I mean, if it's difficult and you have prepared, it's good for you, because the person who has not prepared for it will not get the right answers. But if it is easy and if you have not prepared, then it's good for you, because I mean, you can make some guesses, or basically it's easy and you can clear the exam. Now, who hires? I mean, in US, almost everyone hires, because risk management department is required in each and every industry. Even if you are basically working with, let's say, manufacturing company. In manufacturing company, you'll say, where is the finance, basically, right? But you have operational risk to handle, right? So operational risk to handle, you can have a financial risk manager who can understand it better as compared to a normal finance manager, right? So it mainly FRM mainly works in banks, but it works in any kind of company, right? It any kind of company. If I talk about CFA mainly is anyone who is dealing with money, mainly banks, investment management firms. But FRM, apart from banks, investment firms, every company needs someone like FRM, right? I'm not saying they are everybody is hiring, but they need the person with FRM. Now, when I talk about, okay, they need it, right? So I'm mainly talking about US because FRM is based on US. But another thing is that in India now every big company recognizes FRM. Okay, to give you an example, now it's a 12 years old example, 10 years at least old example, post on around 2011. Okay, one of my colleague actually, who was FRM and I was not like a complete FRM. Okay, he was startup. uh, he was looking to shift the job, and there was World Bank. So World Bank has an opening, okay, in their Chennai office, and the basic requirement was you have to be either FRM or PRM. PRM is professional risk manager, a competitor of FRM, but PRM is more mainly in UK. But if you talk about rest of the world, right, especially India, US, then FRM is what is people recognize. So they said the first requirement for the interview, okay, that you have to be FRM. So this designation is so important, and he finally got the job. But I'm just giving an example that there are many jobs that people will not even call you for an interview if you don't have either CFA or FRM. So you have to be have this extra edge over others. Like 10 years ago, 15 years ago, MBA was that extra edge, that okay, if we have done graduation and now we want to have extra edge, people started doing MBA. But now today everyone is doing MBAs. Where's the extra edge? Extra edge is with these kind of certification. Either you do FRM or maybe CFA. And when I say FRMC, why I'm emphasizing on these two is basically these are US based, recognized everywhere in the world, and you can work with this, right? So better to have something which is recognized everywhere in the world, because tomorrow you don't know where you want to go. You want to maybe go to UK, maybe you want to go to US, Canada, anywhere, right? Or maybe Europe, right? So you need to have a certification which everybody recognizes. Okay. So every big company hires FRM people. Now, how EduPristine can help you? Let me just quickly give you background of EduPristine. EduPristine is around 12 years old company, right? They started, by the way, the first training they gave was FRM, and they has like at that point of time. Now we have like we purposefully have limited batches, so that limited students with batches, okay, that we can have interaction, because in 2008 the first time education started. So the basically the feedback and the everybody liked so much that the batches were like 60 people in one batch, 70 people in one batch. It was like that. Now we can have the same thing now, but we don't want to have it. We want to have like focus approach, so we have limited students in one batch so that you understand, students understand everything, right? So basically, we are a part of US based company at Talem Global Education, okay, which is a $3 billion company, and they have like presence in 145 locations. And Adobe Scene mainly works in finance, accounting, analytics, marketing, and healthcare. Okay, and we have strong presence in online and classroom training platforms. So why you choose us? We have experience in training, more than 12 years of experience in training FRM students, and unlimited, not unlimited, many students have passed through us. And then basically all faculty which we provide are industry experts, because they know what actually is happening in the market, right? And what kind of knowledge is required. And batch size is maximum 25 to 30, and to make it interactive. Flexibility is 1 year validity of your training, that I mean you can re-attend the lectures in other batches in case you miss some classes or so. Okay. And we provide soft skills and placements assistance. Now, if when you go for an interview, you will basically, one thing is technical knowledge, but if you don't know how to speak also, that's another problem. So you need soft skills also, right? So we, as basically EduPristine helps you hone your skills on soft skill side also, so that you are ready for your interview. And we do placement assistance in the sense we connect you with the company. So we have basically connections with many companies. They regularly have like requirements, and they send us requirements. We send it to students. Whosoever is interested, they can apply for a job, and we connect you directly with those companies, and they can then interview you. We have given trainings in big companies like KPMG, ENY, Bank of America, Great Swiss, and other things, and various colleges like ID Delhi, ISB, FMS, I'm Calcutta. So we have given trainings in these institutes, and that basically is a sign that can prove that okay, we have good faculty which who goes to these kind of institutes and companies and train, right? So that is FRM. And Education provides for training, it's 75 hours of training. Okay. And like 15 days basically, 5 hours each. And plus we have 3 days of revision. Okay. 3 days means 15 hours. Then mock tests are there, which will help you clear, I mean, tech test or understand where you stand. Again, you get the recordings of the classes, right? So that is FRM. Any doubts, guys? Anything you want to ask, discuss? Anything, guys?
So just I
I
wanted to know your experience around FRM and analytics.
My experience?
Yeah.
Okay, so basically, as I told you, the first job I got
Uh,
in,
why
yeah,
why these questions? Just I'll explain to you. So I got around 10 years of experience in reference data management,
okay,
and when we manage the reference data, I work for one of the investment bank, and when we manage the reference data, we have to keep in our mind about the risk, operational risk,
okay,
and wherever there will be, I mean, uh, vendor file will get fail, there is a chance of rejection for many trades. I think you will be aware because you have worked for the trading. So meaning, I suppose in a trading terminal, there has if any company will go through the corporate actions, correct? It has to be available in the terminal while you will search for that company for place the order. So
okay,
those kind of data we manage.
okay,
So now I'm thinking about the FRM just for the career growth because truly you said that there are many opportunity in the market and they will shortlist only based on CFA or FRM.
correct,
Yeah, so so that's inspired me to think about the FRM.
right,
Another thing I was thinking about the analytics. I mean PG in analytics. I see some of the institute. So they are offering us for 2 lakh 50,000 around or 3 lakhs for analytics, PG in analytics. They have tied up with some foreign countries, universities, and they are merged and they are giving the I mean certificate of those other countries. So they are saying that that will also have a global value. Now I have a little confusion here, like which one to select, whether I should select analytics or FRM just to grow in my career. And
Okay.
already I have a 10 years of experience
Okay.
in one particular field. So how
Okay.
it's going to work?
Okay, so let me explain quickly. So let me tell you like how I moved. So I started working in finance or basically trading in 2008, and by 2013 I was shifting, not exactly shifting, but overlapping with technology. Okay, so 2013 onwards, basically I was working as a consultant, and as a consultant, it was mix of uh, finance and technology, right? So I started working on Python and R with analytics, but keeping in mind my risk managing things also. Okay, so that was my profile, and now according to for you, if I recommend now personally, I don't recommend you to spend like 2.5 lakhs for something, I mean, which is not that worth. But rest it's totally up to you, right? Okay, I would and another difference between FRM, and it might sound that like that I'm selling you this FRM, but if you see the difference, analytics, I mean, education also for analytics, you can check that also. But if you, I mean, try to see, FRM is kind of a certification you will get. Analytics is a skill oriented knowledge, which does not, I mean, there's no exam right now, I mean, which can prove that okay, you have that skill. Okay, so if you do the course, it doesn't mean that you have the knowledge. I mean, obviously you'll get a certificate from them, but I mean, how authentic, not, I'll not use the word authentic, but how much value that certificate has. Okay, because all these things have started recently, so I'll not comment on that. But analytics, which I believe is majorly that you do some short courses and practice and join that industry. Now if you want, if your pure purpose is going into analytics, then I mean, you can go for some short courses and try to enter into that domain, I mean, full time. But if your focus is okay, you want to be either in risk part or a mix of risk and analytics, then FRM is better. So now it totally depends on you what exactly you want to do. Does that make sense?
Yeah, in short.
Okay, I mean, finally it's on you because it's your career, right? But I can tell you, I mean, 2.5 lakhs, 3 lakhs, personally I don't feel it's worth. Okay, because if you, for example, let's say you want to move to US tomorrow, right? Now FRM will have, or CFA will obviously have some impact that okay, you have a certification which proves something, but that, I mean, whatever you, from whichever institute you're getting that after paying 3 lakhs, that might not have any value there.
So one thing. So actually, I'm not in pure risk
Okay.
management, but we work on OREC. We raise OREC. I mean operational risk for
Mm.
the operational risk. So will that work for get the FRM?
Yeah, so charter.
Where yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So basically, if you work in any field related to any risk, be it operational risk, credit risk, anything,
So
and
how
you can explain that to GAP. So it's a, when I applied for charter, so I needed to give it in a paragraph that okay, what I do and why I think it's related to risk. That's all. So if you,
how GARP validate that? Are they going to reach
I
out to my
no, no,
company?
I think it is for me. I don't think they checked. It's more of like trust thing. Okay, So basically, if you can prove, obviously you should not lie, because if you lie and you are caught, for lifetime you will not get that charter. So better to be safe than sorry. So you, as you said, you are working relation in related to operations risk. You can just write down, I mean, when you clear level 2, you can send it to them that okay, I work in operation risk, I do these activities as operation risk for so many years, and they will check if that fits, they will approve that, and operation risk will fit into that.
Oh,
Okay. Yes, guys, any other doubts? Anything?
Yes, yes, sir. Abhishek this side.
Yes, tell me.
Sir, I just wanted to.
Hello,
Hello?
Abhishek, you are on mute. Yeah.
Can you hear me now, sir?
Yes.
Yeah. So right now I'm pursuing MBA from IBS Gurgaon,
Okay.
and it's my final semester.
Okay.
And I have already enrolled myself for CFA program level one
Okay.
for February 21.
Okay.
So should I go for FRM as well? Like I don't have any finance background. Throughout my graduation, I'm from arts, and I did my plus two in science. And just
How
before
you are finding CFA basically? How difficult you are finding CFA?
well, I just started my preparation. So the first topic which I have started, that is economics, because I had that subject in my graduation. So
Okay.
I've started with that. So for if I talk about economics, then it's okay for me. Like I have
Okay.
already studied few things.
So
So
the difference between FRM and CFA, the topic wise, is that the number of topics are less in FRM, the width is less, but
mhm,
depth is more. To give you an example, that let's say quants. Now, for quants,
mhm,
the level of, I mean, the level of knowledge you need for FRM1 is required in CFA1 and level 2 of CFA. Okay, so that
okay,
much level is required in FRM1, but the number of subjects are only 4 in quants. So,
mhm,
I mean, that much difference we have in level 1 and I mean FRM and CFA. So many people go for CFA and FRM both. Now if you can prove, I mean, now the thing is it depends on recruiter to recruiter.
mhm,
Normally if you are giving everything like CFA, FRM, everything, so
mhm,
recruiter says that okay, you are confused, that you don't know what you want to do. But if you
okay,
can prove that why you did both of them, then it
okay.
can be beneficial also, that okay, you have two certifications.
So
But if you cannot
does that
prove, then it's a
does that
problem.
mean like they are for the different things? Like they are for finance, but they both are for different fields. Is it?
I mean, the answer will depend on the kind of recruiter you are dealing with, so there is
Like for
not
an example, if we talk about big fours, if I go for an interview over there, then will it make
in
a
big
difference?
four
Like,
CFA will not work. FRM can work, I mean, depends on again the work. Okay, but big fours, if you are in going to audit, FRM will work more. In other cases where you are handling some other like uh, trying to understand companies, then CFA will work. Okay, so depending on, I mean, I will not say what is the answer of this question, because depending on the profile you are going for, you can create an answer for that.
so, sir, if I go for both the certifications, so they both will give me benefits in the future, or only one can work, like
Both can give you a
particularly.
benefit depending on the job, right? So if for a particular kind of job, there is, I mean, one thing can help you. Okay,
Mm-hmm,
maybe for one job CFA is a better approach, for one job FRM is better approach, right? But if
mm-hmm.
you have, I mean, if you can later prove that okay, why you did both, then it's a
Uh-huh.
good idea to go for both.
Okay, because of this only I was confused. Like, should I go for both the certifications or not?
I
So I
mean,
was,
many people go for it because I mean, not 100% match of the syllabus, but some common things are there, and it will save you time also, right? So
okay,
you can go for that.
okay, sir. Okay, thank you.
Radhika is asking, in case of banks, is FRM better or CFA? Now, again, Radhika, depends on the profile you want to work on. Now, as I told you that risk people will be the last to get fired. So basically, job safety wise, if we do the comparison, then FRM is better placed. But if you talk about number of jobs are more for CFA than for FRM. Thank you. Okay, guys, so I think in case you have any doubts, anything, this presentation, you can get it from the person you are in touch with at EduPristine. They can explain any other questions which are not, answered. You can contact them, and you can contact me in case you want to be in touch. You can search Rupendra Monga on LinkedIn, and you can connect me there, and I'll try my best to answer your queries. No promises, but I'll try my best. Okay, so anything else, or we can stop here?
Hello, Rupindra.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, this is Nilesh here.
yeah,
Rupindra, I just have one question.
yeah.
I'm currently into investment performance analytics. So
Okay.
basically, we do look into risk figures as well, but then we don't calculate it. We usually cross check it. It is a
What
system that
figures?
risk figures were basically like
Okay, okay.
Jensen alpha figure or Chernow ratio, Sharpe ratio, or the
Those are not risk figures, but more of
yeah,
portfolio.
those are performance sort of figures.
Yeah.
But then yeah, but then there are certain figures that we cross check basically. We also do tracking error stuff and all this,
Okay.
so standard deviation stuff. And even we also use CAPM model, which is
Okay.
used
CAPM
in
model, capital
capital
asset
asset
pricing model.
pricing model. Yeah. So there are some risk free rate of return, so we do deal with these figures to calculate performance. But then I wanted to know that do FRM in its syllabus also provide risk attribution?
So, whatever you have mentioned, not all, many of these things are covered in FRM. In
Hmm.
CFA, everything is covered. All of these things.
Yeah,
Okay.
because even in CFA, we have like very small portion for performance measurement and all. So I
Here
was
also,
actually,
it's not big. Basically, it's very
uh
small. Okay.
okay,
Even CAPM, it's bigger in CFA and rather than FRM. FRM is more about risk management. Whatever you
okay,
have mentioned is more about performance management. Okay.
yeah,
Now, risk management is like what is value at risk,
yeah,
how
RAR,
much I will lose in
yes,
case something happens, right? It's
yeah,
about loss,
yeah,
not performance, right?
yeah,
So it's one side we talk about. Obviously, we
yes,
touch performance and everything,
yeah,
but in detail, when we talk about it's only the left side, the downside we talk about.
mm-hmm,
Okay, so
okay,
there is basically we
yeah.
have
So
FRM.
yeah, so basically, I was preparing for CIPM, but then due to this COVID, you know, they
I'll
did
not
not
comment
conduct
on
the exams and all.
CIPM. Yeah, I'll not comment on CIPM. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
but if you want to go for international and certification, and you want to basically deal with similar stuff, CFA is better for you.
Okay.
Okay, and then but if you want to go towards risk, obviously FRM is better for you.
Okay, and just one more question. In quants, what are the syllabus? Like, I just read somewhere that they cover linear regression, all these
Yeah,
things in
yeah,
quants.
they cover, but not like in detail. Theory is covered,
Uh,
not like practically you need to solve anything. So
okay,
theoretically it is covered.
okay,
So that is there in CFA level 2 also.
okay. So because I'll be done with my PhD in data science. So in data science, like they covered all these things.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's the reason I was thinking, I've already
Yeah,
covered
that
these
will
things, so
help.
this
So
might help.
quants is what if you have experience or knowledge about data science or analytics
Yeah.
or stats, then quants is kind of a very easy for you.
Yeah, so that's the reason I was thinking about going for FRM because
Yeah.
I've covered a lot of topics of stats and quants
No
in
problem.
data science. So
Yeah.
okay, yeah,
Okay. Okay.
thank you for my
No problem.
answer.
Okay, guys. So we can stop here, right? Any doubts, anything, you can get in touch with the person in Adobe Scene. They will definitely contact you just to understand if you have any further doubts. Thank you Have a good day. Take care. Bye.
Thanks for your time.
No problem. Take care.